As we continue to listen to the speech that Ms. Rice is speaking right now, I love the fact that she talks about the Oval Office and women. Women in government. Isn't that amazing how that most people are chosen from the Senate and the governor's position to become President of the United States? Do you guys know in your town how many people are senators and governors and how many are women? Women in politics make a change and a big difference. Let's hear from our bloggers and from our family in the House. What do you guys think about that?
You know, there are a couple of other things that we have to do. And here I speak about the United States of America itself. Now, as I traveled around the world as Secretary of State, I could always tell what people admired about us and what they didn't. Frankly, our military power is sometimes resented. It's frightening to people, it's resented. That is, until there's something really hard to do on the front lines of freedom, and then they're awfully glad there's an American military to do it. Sometimes our economic power is resented. And yes, in places like Berlin and Paris, it's fun today to talk about the failure of American capitalism, but people know that there won't be a growing global economy without American growth. And they know too that when there is hunger to be fought, or when there is an earthquake to be dealt with, that it's an awfully good thing that the United States of America has economic strength and clout to do it. And so our military power and our economic clout may sometimes be resented, but they are needed. But the one thing that is universally admired is what I will call our great national myth. Now, a myth is not something that is untrue. It's just something that's a little outsized in your thinking. For some countries in the world, that great national myth is, we lost that territory in 1389 and we're going to get it back. Now that's not a healthy national myth. But our national myth is the log cabin. It doesn't matter where you came from, it matters where you're going. You can come from humble circumstances and you can do great things. And all over the world, people want to be a part of that. That's why the most ambitious people in the world still struggle and strive to come here to be a part of us. And frankly, I don't care. Frankly, I don't care if it's the person who crawled across the desert to make $5, not 50 cents, or Sergey Brin, who came here from Russia and founded Google. The United States of America had better stay open to those ambitious people because they enrich us and they make us better generation after generation. You know, I could go out into this audience and I would see Korean American names and I would see Indian American names and I would see Mexican American names and German American names, but we'd all just be American. That also is a miracle in a world in which difference is a license to kill. But you know, it isn't enough that those who want to come to be a part of us believe in that great national myth. It also has to be there for those who were born here and the least among us. We all have our heroes, and our family's hero is one of them is my paternal grandfather, John Wesley Rice Sr. Now, John Wesley Rice Sr. was a sharecropper's son in Utah. That would be E-U-T-A-W, Alabama. Not kidding. And John Wesley Rice Sr. decided when he was about 19 years old that he ought to get book learning. So he asked how a colored man could get book learning. And they told him about Little Stillman College, a little Presbyterian school that trained colored men. So he saved up his cotton. He went off to Stillman College. And he made it through his first year, and then they said, so how are you going to pay for your second year? He said, I'm out of cotton. They said, you're out of luck. He said, well, how are those boys going to college? They said, well, you see, they have what's called a scholarship. And if you wanted to be a Presbyterian minister, then you could have a scholarship too. And Granddaddy Rice said, you know, that's exactly what I had in mind. My family has been Presbyterian and college educated ever since. What Granddaddy Rice understood was that that education was going to transform him into somebody he might not otherwise ever have been. And it did transform him, and it transformed generations after him. My father went on to be a university administrator. My aunt went on to get a PhD at the University of Wisconsin and to teach Victorian literature. Now you think what I do is weird for a black girl from Birmingham, Alabama? She wrote books about Dickens. But our family was on its way. Can we really say to kids today, if you work hard, your family will be on your way? Because you see, I think it's a tragedy that I can look at your zip code and tell whether or not your school is good. The United States of America has got to do better by the least among us.
Wow, this has been great. I mean, as we continue to hear Ms. Rice speak, we learn a little thing about Afghanistan and how such a small state has so much power by not being governed by the right people. Where is that in our aspects of America and how it affects us? I would like you guys out there, Daniel, ask the family, how do they feel about what's going on in this country and how they look at what Ms. Rice has to say about that? You know what? As a family, we talk about the Oval Office and the power of the White House. It is so great that Ms. Rice was here. I hope that you enjoyed today's show because it was a great one to hear about this country and the change. It does not matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. All that you need to realize that hiphoprepublican.tv, we're open to hear your opinions and your ideas. Thanks for watching and keep watching more.